Hello, everyone. Welcome in to SEC Unfiltered. I am Blayne Gilmer. Thank you so much for tuning in as we are excited to be breaking down the OU spring football game that is going to take place tomorrow. It is going to be that red versus white, the offense versus defense. So excited to see that matchup. They're going to have a format where, it's different scoring rules for each team. And then whoever's ahead in the fourth quarter, they've got a 12-point scoring margin that you have to reach. And if a team gets to that 12-point mark, then the game's over. If not, at the end of it, all different kinds of crazy scoring rules, but it's going to be a great environment. Could be a little bit of rain. So don't let that dampen the mood over there. But when it comes down to it, a lot to be excited about this OU spring football game. We're going to get into some of the biggest questions, some of the biggest things that we want to see out of this Oklahoma spring game. But guys, as we mentioned, SEC Unfiltered, the best SEC entity on the internet. You can find us on the website, secunfiltered.com, or follow us on social media using @SECUnfiltered on TikTok, on Twitter or X, on Instagram, on Facebook. The page is growing like wildfire, and a lot of that is because of great OU fans like you dropping a lot of OU content. But guys, let's go ahead and get into some of the biggest questions that we have and some of the things that we're wanting to see the most out of this OU spring game as we head into a year where Brent Venables and company are heading into the SEC. There's a new 12-team playoff format. There's all kinds of transfer portal craziness going on. So lots of things to keep our eye on the periphery as we head into the 2024 season. But diving in and zooming in to what you can get out of this spring game is what we're here to talk about today on SEC Unfiltered. There are a few key questions that we want to get answered from OU, from the Sooners, as we head in to this spring game tomorrow. So very, very excited to be discussing it today. I think, guys, as we go right off the bat here, the biggest question that has surrounded OU the entire offseason, that is surrounding OU right now as we go into the portal window being open and definitely into this spring game, is the offensive line. Okay. Listen, you're replacing all 5 starters from a year ago. We know that is a tough challenge. Okay. And particularly at the center position. All right. You had brought in a guy like Troy Everett that thought maybe he could be the guy that's going to be there, injured, not going to be in the picture. Now Joshua Bates slides in there for the time being. He's a guy who's a redshirt freshman, 6'3", 311. Could be a rainy environment there in Norman on Saturday, so the ball could be a little bit wet. Let's see what snaps look like, things of that nature. But all of these pieces, okay, when you have talented running backs like Oklahoma does, particularly Gavin Sawchuk, the lead running back, I want to see against this defense that is very experienced, how well has Bill Bedenbaugh's coaching been able to mold this group together, at least what they have currently, so where they can hold up pass rush wise and also be able to get a little bit of movement running the football. It's going to be interesting to see that across the front of the offensive line to start off with. You'll probably see Jacob Sexton at left tackle. You'll probably see Wee Woo at left guard. Bates will be in there at center. And then it'll get crazy there across on the right side. We don't really know. Is it going to be Spencer Brown or is it going to be Jake Taylor at right tackle? We don't really know at right guard either. Eugene Brooks is a guy who they're really, really excited about and has shown a lot of improvement as things go on. He's 6'3", 334, so he could slide in at some different spots. But it's going to be competition there. But more so, and we'll get into this later, there's going to be a guy there that is Branson Hickman. He's a center. Okay. He's from SMU, being recruited hard right now out of the portal by Arkansas and by TCU. There's connections there to TCU. He's going to be there watching this game, and it could end up being his last overall visit. So OU has a very, very good chance to make an impression, particularly let's say Bates does struggle. Maybe that's an opportunity, a blessing in disguise for OU to say, hey, go to Branson Hickman and say, hey, you were here. You saw it firsthand. We need a center. We need you to come step in and be this guy. So that is a big time visitor to check out as far as the offensive line goes. But just giving Jackson Arnold clean pockets, giving him opportunities to not have to be scrambling for his life as he gets in here, because I think everybody would, of course, love to see how he's going to, mesh up with some of the weapons that Oklahoma has out there. But in order for that to happen, there has to be an opportunity to just operate within the offense and have, 2.5, 3 seconds at least to throw that football. So can he get through some progressions and being able to do that? I think the defense will probably help him out a little bit. I don't think you'll see crazy, just all out engage 8 blitzes from the Oklahoma defense. So I think you'll see Brent Venables kind of control that a little bit here in this spring game. But when it comes down to it, just excited to see that overall, the offensive line play between all of these guys. Now, guys, before we go on to point two, the second thing that we're excited to see in the spring game, do want to tell you about our partners at RHOBACK. Guys, if you do not know about RHOBACK, it is time that you listen up and head over to RHOBACK. That's RHOBACK.com. Guys, performance polos, all other kinds of apparel as well, whether it's shorts, T-shirts, whatever. But the performance polos, moisture wicking, 4-way stretch, they're going to look great. The Azalea collection is out for a limited time this spring, whether you're playing golf, a business meeting, whatever. These are perfect for you to put into your repertoire, guys. Go out there and kind of remake over the wardrobe a little bit, rack up some RHOBACK, because now, as members of the SEC Oklahoma, you can go in there and use SECU as your promo code and get 20% off on your initial purchase there over at RHOBACK.com. So go stock up on you some stuff. Hey, whether you're going to be hitting the links this summer, you need some comfortable gear to wear, RHOBACK has you covered. Also, lots of great colors and designs that you can choose from. Use that promo code SECU to get 20% off. All right. So we talked about the offensive line. I think one of the other things that I'm excited to see are the depth guys, the guys who are in that, not maybe the go-to guys, but that second tier. With the exception of at wide receiver, I do want to see the connection between Deion Burks and Jackson Arnold. How much has it grown? How much have things come to the point where Deion Burks probably expected to be that go-to guy to replace Stoops from a year ago, okay? The guy who can lead the team in receptions, who can be open on critical downs. I think Deion Burks and Jackson Arnold, that connection is going to be important. I'm excited to see that. Also, when it comes to the second tier guys, we know that Jalil Farouk out with injury. Nick Anderson and Andrew Anthony have missed time in the spring with injury. Don't know if you'll see either of them. Probably won't in the spring game. But when it comes down to it, there's other guys that are going to have to step up, and guys who you can be excited about if you're an OU fan to see in this spring game. Jaden Gibson being one of them, big, tall guy that can play on the outside, has made some just highlight reel plays this spring, and I want to see how he does fans in the stadium. Their big opportunity. Him, JJ Hester, Petaway, and then you have Carry-On, all these guys, Yvonne Carry-On, who's a freshman, 6'6" out of Odessa, Texas. These guys are people that you need to see step up and produce while they have the opportunity, because all it's going to do is overall help your depth, right? We know that Andrew Anthony and Nick Anderson and Jalil Farouk are all going to come back and be healthy, and you got Deion Burks as that go-to guy. The tight end position looks a lot better than it did in years previous, and then now you're going to have guys like Jaden Gibson maybe step up and work themselves into being a true reliable target out there. But there's been different reports out there of Hester looking good at times, of Gibson looking good at times, Petaway, and then Yvonne Carrion is a potential guy. So he's big. How does he look when he's out there in a competitive environment against an experienced defense? Excited to see that. Running back wise, listen, we know Gavin Sawchuk, he's that dude. He's that guy, the lead back. But who really steps up and solidifies himself as the kind of 1-2 punch there, RB2 with him? We know that Javonte Barnes, he's been there a while. He's kind of been, mixed around, lost in the shuffle at times, had injuries, stuff like that. But Javonte Barnes has been around. We know that he can be a productive back for OU, but we'll see. We'll see how he fares against other guys like Caleb Hicks, who has really shown at different times during this spring for OU, and excited the coaches. Sam Franklin is a guy who's transferred in. What does he do? And then also, of course, you got freshmen like Taylor Tatum, who was recruited by people all over the country. A really multifaceted back, as somebody that is exciting to watch as well. So we'll see what he does in terms of the spring game here with the running back depth. Excited to see all of those guys in action. The defensive side of the football for OU. Listen, we know that this is the strength of this Oklahoma team this year with what they have at linebacker and McCullough and Kanak, and then also Danny Stutzman. We know that. We know the linebacker level is just totally secure and is going to be flying around. We know with Billy Bowman or Peyton Bowen, these guys that are on the back end of the defense, a lot to be excited about there as well. Along the defensive front, Ethan Downs is a guy who comes back, a lot of production. But what I'm excited to see is some of the new guys that have been brought in, some of the freshmen that can excite on the defensive side of the football, whether it's David Stone, who comes in as a freshman, highly touted recruit, somebody that can be a difference maker. He's wearing that number 0. Anytime there's a big man wearing a number 0, then he's got to be a baller, or the coach otherwise probably wouldn't let him wear it. So I'm excited to see David Stone come in, and then Jaden Jackson also. Both guys up front that I think that's one area that they have some room for growth and need some depth, need some guys to be added in that room. And we're going to talk about that with our next topic here after this one. But I'm excited to see, hey, there's experience all over this defense. All right. We know Brent Venables, this is his baby, the defensive side of the ball, and it's improved dramatically over time. So I'm excited to see how it works out, but I'm excited to see the flash of these freshmen, particularly David Stone and Jaden Jackson, what they look like, and being able to possibly contribute maybe even more than people expect early on as freshmen. So excited to see that for Oklahoma. And then finally, big time visitors, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. First, on the offensive side, we mentioned earlier, Branson Hickman, the center from SMU. That's going to be huge, as we said, with Everett now being hurt, and then Joshua Bates not knowing what you have there. That's big. But on the defensive side of the ball, Dominic Williams from TCU, he's a guy that's played a lot over there at TCU in 2 years, 9.5 tackles for a loss, 4.5 sacks over there. And he's one of the biggest names out there in the portal. He's going to be visiting for the spring game, and many people are wondering, does he even make it off campus without committing to Oklahoma? Okay, he scheduled this visit to Oklahoma for the spring game just hours, or maybe even an hour after entering the transfer portal. So that's something to watch for sure. And then Jermaine Lowell, who's a guy who's been in college football forever. He would be a 7th-year guy. He's played at Arizona State. He's played at Louisville. So he would have an opportunity to bring experience and size. He's 6'2", 6'3", 305, 310 pounds. So he would bring size, he would bring experience, he would bring depth to that defensive front, which is something that they need along the interior defensive line. So the trenches have a lot of big time visitors there out of the transfer portal for this spring game. Just looking forward to seeing a great environment. Okay, for OU fans, they got to be excited heading into the SEC. A lot of talent and a lot of experience returning on the defensive side, and then just those questions on the offense. Can you protect Jackson Arnold? Can you give him time to find those weapons? I think the receiving core is one of the, when they're all healthy, it's one of the better ones in the entire country as far as depth, playmaking ability, all that. Sawchuk is really good at running back, but that offensive line is the big question. Could get some help via the portal, even with guys watching this game, as we've mentioned. But when it comes down to it, guys, there's a lot to take away. Go ahead and drop your comments in there. What are you looking forward to seeing the most out of the OU spring game? And then also, guys, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. It's totally free for you. Helps us out a ton. We drop a lot of OU content. We drop content across teams all across the SEC, because right here at SEC Unfiltered, we are the best SEC entity on the internet, and we'd love to have your support. So, guys, thank you for watching. God bless you, and we'll catch you next time to talk more SEC football, more OU football, and all things SEC on SEC Unfiltered.